Hi, it's Kipling Bates here, and video 4 in a series I've called Ledgers and Layers. So in this video I really want to focus on this concept of layers, and I introduced it in the previous video where I talked about how at the base level of a blockchain, if you decide to pick a particular blockchain and use it, then you're kind of stuck within the framework that has been settled on by the community and the developers. So in that sense, for you, the behavior of the blockchain is a bit like the behavior of the universe, in that you have no control over it. It is what it is. However, on a smart contract blockchain, you have this next layer where you deploy the smart contracts, and maybe you implement a ledger within the ledger of the base blockchain that creates tokens for your project. And as a developer, you now have a lot of freedom as to how those tokens will behave. And that means you have a choice to continue with the decentralized nature of the blockchain or bring in some centralized features. So at the second level, when you have your smart contract, now we're getting into the realm where you're making choices rather than having those choices dictated to you. However, the community as a whole has settled on a number of standards for fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens. These are known as ERC20 and ERC721 in the Ethereum world. And so if you decide to deviate from these standards, then your token may not get as much traction as you like, because other developers won't be familiar with how to interface with it. It's kind of, in that sense, a bit like languages, where you can decide to publish your book in whatever language you choose. However, it probably makes sense, unless you're targeting a niche market, to go for a popular language like English or Spanish, rather than a language that doesn't have many people who speak it, because you'll be reducing your market size. So in that sense, we're talking about the second layer, the smart contract layer, where you have more freedom, but it makes sense to make your decisions to follow the crowd purely for the sake of adoption. However, now we have a third layer, which is a presentation layer, and that is Web3, where you build a website to interface with your smart contract that is running on the blockchain. And here you have even more freedom, because you're not constrained by the blockchain at all, in the sense that your web server is going to be running on a server that you completely control, and therefore you can decide how you're going to present the information that the blockchain holds to the user, what it is actually going to mean when you put up pages and images and text boxes and things like that. And you have even more freedom as a developer there than you do at the smart contract level. And so that's what I'll be discussing in the final 5th video in this series, Ledgers and Layers, about how the different levels that you go through when you're looking at blockchain and a Web3 stack offer different levels of freedom to the developer and come with different levels of responsibilities. So look out for that video coming soon. I hope to see you then. Bye for now.